Here are 10 weird things I wish I knew about my Tesla Model 3 before I bought it. First of all, let me stop the haters. This is a fantastic sports sedan. This is a fantastic car. I really enjoy driving it, but there are a number of small things. So, first of all, the range. I thought when I was buying a car with a 353-mile range, I expected that it was under ideal conditions, etc., and I would get maybe 300 miles. What I didn't know is that you can't really use the whole battery. You're allowed to charge it, or you're encouraged to charge it to 100% only if you're going to go on a trip, and you shouldn't go below 20% either. There's arguments on the Tesla forums as to what range of battery charging you should do to have maximum life out of your battery. People seem to land in the 20% no less than, and 80 or 90% no more than, which really cuts the range of the car by 40% or so. And I expect the range to go down as the battery goes down. So the real distance I expect to get out of my battery is maybe 150 miles in normal driving, unless I charge it to 100% for a trip. That's a significant difference. I'm really glad I bought the long range. I think that kind of range is enough for me, but I'm not getting the range that I expected. Second of all, getting into the car. So I'm showing a picture of the door handle. I don't like the door handles. I've read reports of people where they're frozen out because of the door handles, but that's not my big issue, although carrying groceries, these are a pain. My big issue is that the mobile app goes to sleep. I've got a very popular Samsung smartphone, probably one of the top selling phones on the planet, and the default settings, at least on my phone, things go to sleep and I have to bring the screen up for the Tesla mobile app. I've fixed part of it where now I only have to bring up the screen for the phone. I can keep it from going to sleep on Bluetooth, but it's going to use more battery. It's kind of a pain. I'm just going to buy the key fob. I'd already said the door handle's not convenient, and then, oh my god, adding a driver. I had someone who I wanted to add to the car. We thought we had added her successfully. We looked up instructions on adding a driver, and one website gave a list of 50 different steps, and then it gave it a difficulty level of 4 on 1 through 5 difficulty scale. It was much harder than it should be. And then she got stranded someplace because the car had added her and then decided she wasn't authorized. Ugh. Now, the mobile app is in fact fantastic. My previous car, a BMW, had a mobile app. It had a lot of the same features that this app has, but this one works. It actually works. I can see where the car is. I can set the charging. It works really well. I can turn on the air conditioner before I leave a place so the car is nice and cool when I go out to the car. It's a really, really nice app. I was shocked on a $50,000 car that it didn't come with HomeLink, the garage door opener. It's $300 option. It's not just you pay the $300, they send you a box, they tell you don't open this box, and you have to go to a Tesla repair center for them to install this feature. So it's a whole thing. They probably could have added it for $10 a car. I think it's inexcusable in this price car not to have that feature. The infotainment system, it looks really good and really exciting when you take your test drive. It's really weak. This is a super basic infotainment system. So things like news stations are done through a function called TuneIn. TuneIn keeps crashing. I like to listen to MSNBC. Literally every single time I go in the car, I have a load error on MSNBC. I've got to turn to a different TuneIn station, wait for it to stabilize 30 seconds or so, and then I can use MSNBC. There are basic functions that just aren't there. I've had phone functions. I've had navigation functions. They're just not there. You can't resize or reposition anything. So again, I came from a BMW. I don't think of BMW as a particularly, good infotainment system, but I could tell it that I wanted to have in the navigation system, giving me the size of the icons for what direction to turn next, to have them very large on a split screen with a picture of the map. You can't do anything like that with the Tesla. It is what it is, and it's not really very well done. There's no hotkeys. So, for example, if you look at the bottom here, setting the temperature you can do right from the home screen. Setting the fan is a two-step process. It's you don't have 10 hotkeys, let's say, that you could assign things to, so you can decide that setting the fan is important to you. A little crazy. Again, BMW, not the greatest infotainment system in the world. It had hotkeys that were settable. No Sirius XM and no aux inputs. So I listened to Howard Stern. For me to put in Sirius in this thing is a big pain. I could do it through the app on the phone, but having a satellite receiver is actually better. I won't go into details on why, but there's whatever you want to add, it is not set up for it. Now, I knew something was missing from my life when I found fart on turn signal. You see, this is what I always needed. I don't know why. I thought this was great. Loved it. So I also love the fact that I can get halfway to the performance version in terms of acceleration for an extra $2,000. I can just do an upgrade and get what would be in an internal combustion engine, a bigger engine for a pretty affordable price. So if you care about it. So I think that I wish I knew that before I bought the car. I think I bought the right one long range, but I was considering the performance for this, and if I had known that I could get it, would have made me more comfortable with the choice of long. When I bought the car, the transaction didn't work flawlessly. So they delivered my car. They drove it from the factory. I live in the Bay Area. They drove it from the factory to my house. And there was a car cover in the trunk. And there was a wireless charger that wasn't really supposed to be part of the car. The documentation was messed up. It said it was a used car, even though it only had 50 miles on the odometer, which was about right for the drive from the factory to my house. So I was wondering, was this a customer car that had gotten delivered and returned, and it counts as a used car, and I'm not the first owner officially? It created a whole lot of questions. Well, it turned out the phone charger, they decided that they were going to start throwing them on there, the wireless chargers. And the car cover, apparently there were some number of cars where they just did that. They threw in a car cover for no apparent reason. In the documentation, there's some number of cars that had that messed up documentation. Everything was fine, but it was weird. And then my phone key worked. I pulled the car into the garage. I didn't take the key cards out. And all of a sudden my phone key didn't work. And I was like, what the hell? And I tried to email Tesla. By the way, customer service is awful. I tried to email Tesla. I tried to call them. There was no way to contact them. Like, my car's just stuck. I can't get at my car. And finally, I sort of sifted through the entire website, and I found a place where there was like, oh yeah, you need to sign this document. Like it was just a random finance document. I signed it online. All of a sudden, my phone worked for opening the car. And I found 3 different build issues with the car. There was a tail light, a side reflector on the right tail light that looks like it's just literally molded wrong. It's all warped. They're going to fix that. There's a misalignment in the doors. There's one of the wheel covers was messed up. So, the build quality is not great here. And I'm sure there's plenty more in places I can't see. At first, I wanted to lease this car. Thank God, before I purchased it, I started running some numbers, and it really is the worst lease on the planet. The pricing was massively too high. It was just no other lease is as expensive. I don't know whether it's the money factor or if it's the residual, but payments were much too high. When I purchased the car, payments for a loan were barely higher than for a lease. It was about an extra $50 a month to get the loan instead of the lease. Yes, it's a longer period on the loan, but the car will have positive residual value at the time that the lease would end, so therefore the loan was a better deal by far. And then unique in the leasing world, Model 3 and Model Y have no purchase option at the end. You cannot purchase your car. Model X, Model S, you can. Any other car company's car, you can. I was told that Elon wants to use these as robo-taxis, so he doesn't want to give you the option of purchasing the car at the end. So that really eliminates a protection against the residual being too low. If you can purchase the car at the end for the cost of the residual, then if the residual is set too low, you simply purchase your car and then you can sell it or keep it or whatever you want. But in this case, you have to give it back and you have no choice. So I hope you enjoyed this and looking forward to any comments.